I won't stay cammed up very long. I'm in my bedroom and I'm kind of freaking the fuck out right now. And I don't know how long I'll be on here. Um, but if anybody sees Josh from the lab, let him know that, yeah, it's obviously the YouTube streets, right? All things and stuff. And, Josh, he knows another thing's right, but, Josh, he knows another thing's right, but, if it wasn't for him right now, I wouldn't have this piece sliding home and this first sense of relief of any kind I've had in feels like it feels like an eternity, but definitely since June 15th. And I can't get a hold of others tonight. And I don't know that it will matter, but it matters to me. And I think, oh boy, all I can say is that those mimicking the imparroting what they couldn't quite put words to within the first hours and days after summer vanished. They kept giving a description for Occam's razor, right? But they didn't know the term. And I've always tried to stay mostly Occam's razor despite this place and all the bullshit. Sometimes it's hard, especially with so many pieces. But it's so simple, and I know in my gut and soul I'm right. I know I'm right tonight. And if it wasn't for the lab and Josh right. Anyway, so everybody sees Josh. But I'm gonna calm down. Alright guys. If you wanna hang out with me for a minute while I go through this, and I've only made it about 20 minutes into Josh's piece tonight. There's just this Occam's razor of a fucking epiphany. A fucking epiphany. And maybe it's that simple. So over the course of the past few days, somebody said something, and I've been looking and I've been trying to kind of rack my brain, right? But I don't want to look too much because I still yet do try to go along the guidelines I set for myself of not contaminating or mixing in or screwing up memories versus this place and the shit show and all of that. So I walk it very carefully. And I've been dredging my brain over another bit. And I know I asked Josh about something the other night in his live, and the whole place lit off and decided to, do its usual eating of Jodisue. Now, they've turned everybody into rabid animals around here with their nonsense. But I asked him about a thing. And I was sitting down a minute ago, and you're going to hear my stomach because I was getting ready to try to eat. Because, yeah. Because, yeah. uh, just gotten out of the shower and dealing also with some crazy person who thinks blowing up their engine tonight is worth, I guess waking up kids and family members up and down the road. And I don't know. YouTube YouTube stalkers, man. They're wonderful, right? this right here, and I hope Josh won't mind, but I'm going to play this, and I think I got to 21 minutes and 30 seconds, but I'm going to start back about where I began, which is like 7, I think.
Basically starts back in 1979 when a police report was filed for alleged malfeasance and alleged SA and so on and so forth. And this seems to be a trend that has followed not just Don, but Donnie Jr., who's a grown man now and also a registered sex offender, convicted, and has had a really troubled life as well. And then you have on Candace's side, or her brother, who the state was just so. A police report was filed for alleged malfeasance and alleged SA and so on and so forth. And this seems to be a trend that has followed not just Don, but Donnie Jr., who's a grown man now and also a registered sex offender, convicted, and then you have on Candace's side, or Grandma Candy's side, her brother, who the state was just so scared to let out because of his deviancy and so on and so forth. There's a lot. There's a lot there. And so I'm going to play. This is from the interview with Chris. Now, once again, Don claims that he said he got home around 5 or 5:30 and that he beat everybody there, but the cops hadn't even been called until 6:26, which if Don says that he made it home.
No, I've heard Don even in person many times say that he's always confused about the calls. He thought they went in at 5:30. Okay. What I can tell you is that I and other neighbors were already searching for Summer after 6:09 p.m. All right, for Summer after 6:09 p.m. All right, I hadn't yet come up on the boys yet, but Andy and Dawn came in at almost the exact same time. Andy first. He spoke to Candace at the end of Ben Hill. You could already tell the cops were coming because of the dogs all the way down through Beach Creek. Anybody who lives there knows exactly what I'm talking about. So does law enforcement. Beach Creek. Anybody who lives there knows exactly what I'm talking about. So does law enforcement. They're kind of cleanup crew only. About a half hour in advance they're coming. Anyway, here I'm coming. Right. I walk a few feet back up as close to the road, wave Andy down. I tell him I was like, Summer's missing, even though I could hear some of his and Candace's conversation. But I wanted to be sure. He goes, I know. He goes on down the road towards Mount Carmel. Dawn stops at the end of the road down there towards Ben Hill. But I wanted to be sure. He goes, I know. He goes on down the road towards Mount Carmel. Dawn stops at the end of the road down there towards Ben Hill. He comes through the cops pass. Eventually, I can see one parked on Simpson Road near Sherfy and his girlfriend. They're facing myself, the boys, etc., right? Sherfy and his girlfriend, they're facing myself, the boys, etc., right? Dawn's running back and forth. Candace is doing whatever down there. Andy's running back and forth. But they did sort of beat the cops in, okay? It was all kind of like a simultaneous clash. So I do put that somewhere probably close to 7, right? Had to be somewhere close. 6:30-ish to 7. I don't know. I was busy looking for fucking Summer. Also, by this point, you have other neighbors besides I and the first neighbor. Look, they're coming out, starting to look for Summer. Also, by this point, you have other neighbors besides I and the first neighbor. Look, they're coming out, starting to look for Summer. They're at the end piece of Ben Hill as it meets the main Beach Creek. Okay. As it meets the main Beach Creek. Okay.
From Jonesboro in 20 to 25 minutes, he'd be doing over 120 miles an hour. And I'm not.
The thing about Jonesboro depends on what piece you're in and which back roads and what ways you take, but
it's not saying that that's not possible. It certainly is possible. Not likely, but possible. And that he beat the cops there. Once again, not likely and damn near impossible. When I say damn near impossible, according to the timeline, according to his own phone call, while he's putting his Spackle McSpackleton crap in his through that he decided to take that day for no good apparent reason. other than, I don't know why he would take it, but he did. And it seems like that was the first day that he ever took it.
It wasn't the first day he ever took it. He had been increasingly taking it more and more. And I think, from my own opinion and perspective, it's the same thing that our abuser was doing to us. He was leaving me there with cars that didn't run right, couldn't go anywhere, etc. Subaru is also the only one over there that could fit all the children at once, so it controlled Candace in a way what she could get up to, all that stuff, do okay. But that was not the first time he took that Subaru.
Let's see. Red screen.
However, I can tell you that I was absolutely shocked when he showed up and I seen him pull in, like at the end of the road at Ben Hill before he zoomed down the road after Andy had. It didn't make sense to me because of the red flag, stuff earlier we had seen. That's how I put some of the pieces together later as well.
Okay. What's going on with this? Oh. Hey everyone, best channel ever. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. There's a well near that shed. American True Crime has an info. There's a lot of. I believe I don't know about that one specifically, but I definitely know that there are a few around there. Well, it's supposed to be about a 45-minute drive, which Don says that he made in 20.
I don't care where he's at. Even at the furthest reaches of Jonesboro, I could get back to being home less than 45. Who in the hell is giving you all these times? But whatever.
What do you say, 20? I mean, yeah. Mary has it at 130 miles an hour. I'm kind of close to that as well. I mean, he'd have to be cooking to do that. But here's the thing: his phone call to police doesn't come in until like 6:32. So if his phone call comes in at 6:32 and he's still at work loading his tools, how could he get there at 5:30 before the police get there? I mean, they have him showing up around. If he called the police from his job site, then that would put him at about 7 o'clock, going at warp speed. Now, he may have done that because I think most people would if their daughter was missing. The first thing that I personally would do, and I'm speaking clearly for myself, is I would want to know exactly, I would want to talk to my wife first. I'd want to talk to my wife first, my family, law enforcement. Give me the scoop. What do you got? What are we doing? Well, let's just listen to this here a little bit.
There was nobody there. I was the first one there.
He was the first one there before the cops, before everybody else. He was the first one there, which would put him there at 7 o'clock.
There was nobody there. I was the first one there.
Then he admits, Chris asked him, hey, so did you go check that shed? He says, or did you go look inside that shed? He says, no. But then.
And the thing is, right, I send the last message to our abuser, 609, start to walk off the hill. All these things come into contact. Candace, all these minutes, right? The phone call, over here. All these things. But Monster says last messages, he's gonna be on the way. Last messages, he's gonna be on the way, and I know it takes him a certain amount of time to get there, but I know he's also next door at the stall pump for a minute or two, etc. He'd already worked over and already been over hanging out at the stall pump as quote working over, whatever. It's quite late anyway that day. So I know that it's after 6:30 and probably closer to 7 before Monster and Dawn arrived, right? But it was Monster. But they were right, with one another basically, and then the cops passing, and I mean, it was chaos.
Listen to this.
There was nobody there. I was the first one there. I was thinking, probably ain't been out by probably together or anything, so that's what made me drive down there first.
Okay. And then, did you go into that shed?
No.
Was that yours too, by the way, real fast?
Yeah, that's what I did.
And that's the thing in my memory, and I'd have to go back to my earliest pieces for law enforcement or troopers or any of the other agencies or feds, the first one that had first interviews. the first one that had first interviews. They would know. But
I don't know if I checked it then or later, but I know I did.
You got there.
and that's the thing. I recall him pulling at a spot or something, but I never. I don't think it looked so weird, and all these months and months and months. Hearing over and over, but in an interview piece and other things which I went over, looking for another piece. But I'd heard before. It was a singular mention, and it was, you know.
What was your first impression of where you should search first?
Well, that's why I drove down to the bottom, because I didn't even go to the house. I went straight by that shed on the bottom.
Yeah, that's the one where off the bottom of your property.
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of going right up to the house, his first thought was, well, maybe they've checked everywhere else.
First.
Well, that's why I drove down to the bottom, because I didn't even go to the house. I went straight by that shed on the bottom.
Yeah, is that the one where
He says he went by the shit on the bottom.
off the bottom of your property?
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of going right up to the house, his first thought was, well, maybe they've checked everywhere else. Let me check this shed. Why he would check the shed, I'm not
He didn't check the shit.
really sure. Especially with the claims that Summer never wandered off to the sheds, that she never wandered off the property.
It's not why he was down there, Josh. It wasn't why he was down there. He wasn't looking for Summer.
That she would never do that. And this isn't just a short little hop and a skip. All right, this is a substantial amount of time and a substantial amount of distance from the house. So as you can see here, the interview room, and Chris McDonough and Karen, who've done fantastic work, videotape this. You can clearly see the shed that Don checked first before anything.
But he didn't. He didn't. At least not for. Anyway, he wasn't down there looking for Summer.
So you take a look there. Mars says, I don't find that strange. I mean, if everyone is looking, why wouldn't he check the shed? Because it's not even, I mean, it's a long way away. I mean, what do you mean? Why would he just check the shed randomly? Wouldn't you want to, like, could she have been found in the time that he got home? Could he have, could she have been down in the shed? Yeah, possibly. But why immediately go right there? And then he doesn't even know if he did check it right away or not. But I think he actually did. I think he actually does know. Let's listen again.
Hold right there.
I think he actually does know. Let's listen again.
Hold right
There was nobody there. I was the first one there. And I was thinking, well, I probably ain't been out on property yet or anything, so let's made me drive down there first.
Okay.
No.
And then did you go into that shed?
No.
Okay, so right there, he says, no, he didn't. And then he says, yes, I did. But then he can't remember if he did it right away or later on. You following me here? The story is very, very inconsistent. And let alone the time discrepancy that he claims is there. If that, in fact, did happen, he would have checked the shed around 7 o'clock. Summer was reported missing at 6:26. Yet people say that about 5 o'clock is when they start searching, a little after 5:30. Is when they start searching, a little after 5:30. So you have at least an hour time discrepancy there. Then Don says that he's the first person there, which can't be true.
It's not true.
His time, how do you mess up that much time on purpose? Is it on purpose? Is it on accident? If it's on accident,
I think it falls into the same. I tossed the phone in the back of Dawn's truck. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where that falls, Josh. Pretty sure that's where that falls. There's no signal in that phone. I couldn't get a signal, so I tossed it away and put it in the back of Dawn's truck and got Mom's phone. Right? Yeah. Pretty sure that's where that falls. There's no signal in that phone. I couldn't get a signal, so I tossed it away and put it in the back of Dawn's truck and got Mom's phone. Right? Yeah.
Accident, that's a huge time gap. 7 o'clock and 5 or 5:30 is a major time discrepancy. 5 and 5:30 and 6:26 is a major time discrepancy. A major time discrepancy. Anyway, so you have these major time discrepancies. Let's see, and I just want to say that, but it just does seem odd.
That yours too, by the way, real fast?
Yeah, I did. I don't know if I checked it then or later, but I know I did.
You got there. What was your first impression of where you should search first?
Well, that's why I drove down to the bottom, because I didn't even go to the house. I went straight by that shed on the bottom.
Yeah, is that the one where off the bottom of your property to the
Yes.
Okay.
There's a little dirt road. I went past that. I went straight down that hill, straight to the creek, and that's when I seen my boys, and then I seen my neighbor Dawn walking to the left side. The boys were on the other.
That right there. The other time he just talked about that. All the other times I've heard he just says, seen my neighbor and the boys, right? And other times I've heard him say plural, as in he could see himself and the other neighbor that were first to search for Summer. Right. But that right there tells me which one of us he could see, which tells me my placement as he was there. Right. Tells me where I was at and searching in at the creek and where he couldn't have seen me from, but seen the other neighbor and seen the boy. And then the fact that he says that about the shed.
Other side of the hill, and I knew, like I say, I knew my heart just sank right there.
Okay.
I just knew she was gone. Well,
Yeah, you knew she was gone. Didn't you, Don? Y'all knew she was gone. You motherfuckers. But wait.
And we yelled for her. Gave her some hysterics.
Right.
And we never did find her. She called 911 and called down.
No.
We sent the boys down over the hill, and I stood in front of the over by the edge there and watched them. And was praying to God every minute that nobody would take Bill. Yeah. There was no sign of it. Do you believe?
Y'all want to hear that again? Y'all want to hear it again? No, I can tell you tonight. I've wondered a great many things. I still do. Still love pieces. But my gut says I'm not wrong here.
I know we could not find her. Candy was in hysterics. And we never did find her. She called 911 and she called Donnie, and we sent the boys down over the hill. And I
See, I always kind of wondered about the phone. You know, Candace says that she got the first phone. It would pick up. She throws it in the back of the truck, Dawn's truck. Gets her mom's. Right. I'm like, well, that had to be after. I'm in the road. I'm in between driveways. I'm trying to let her know that I can hear them. I know something's wrong. I'm going to go ahead and search for somewhere they can hear me. And I can hear them all kind of come together, at least Candace and the boys. And I hear, what did you do? What did you do? Nothing, mama, nothing, mama, I swear. Then I hear the boys take off the left side of the bank. And I can hear them all kind of come together, at least Candace and the boys. And I hear, what did you do? What did you do? Nothing, mama, I swear. Then I hear the boys take off the left side of the bank, crash down like, towards the creek on that side. Then I carry on to the right. Summer, starting to go in. I hear Dawn, Dawn, what I later learned is Dawn on the phone with Candace. Loudly, but so loud I think it's another person in the fucking truck with her. I'm very confused when, first contact's made, and then the only reason I figure out who and what the fuck is because Dawn pops up and goes, so you're telling me somebody took my baby girl? Glad as fuck. After another second or two, I let her go. I go back in and to start going on the creek. She runs into the other neighbor. I can see his boots. They're the work boot type things. Right there on the pavement, a little bit lower. He asks me, which way do you want to go, whatever. I was like, well, I've got, sandals on, obviously. If you want to take the bank, I'll carry on to the creek. Right? We're told all this time, phone calls to police are on 6:20 something. It doesn't make phone calls to police are on 6:20 something. It doesn't make any sense. You can't make it make sense, especially with statements of hers saying the cops were called first, but there are things I know from law enforcement and things here that are real fucking confusing. And the boys were indeed sent down, right? Yeah, right. You three? Yeah. Oh yeah, you sent them down all right. You see, here's a problem.